It's your boy Online Davo, and we back with another video. Look, we got a video by Ty's Corner. The truth of black, whoa. The truth about black overconsumption. Now, we kind of know what the video's about, but we're going to see what bro talking about because I think this is going to be an interesting topic because I have personally been trying to, live a more minimalistic lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? That could be because a nigga ain't got it. Nigga ain't got it like that. But minimalistic lifestyle in the sense of, some shit you just don't need. If I ain't wear this within the last year, I don't see myself wearing it. You feel me? If I haven't fucking used that piece of paper or if I haven't, I don't fucking know. If it doesn't have a purpose and it's not being used, throw it away, give it away. You're living in a scarcity mindset. You know what I'm saying? And that's something I had to slowly train myself out of. I'm still doing it, but I'm going to save it out for later. Let's get into the video. Come on.
I got the Maybach or the Maybach, whatever you want to call it. I got 7 Rolls Royces right here. I like to call it Lucky 7. But then I say, if I want to bring out the one and only, then I bring out the watch that costs $18 million.
Woo!
Matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? For you hands today, I'm going to go on $50,000 because I ain't got else to do. Money made. All my day.
How did barriers to wealth building shape black consumerism, and why do we sometimes spend money on stupid shit to impress people we don't like? Let's have a talk. I always hear niggas say things like y'all buy Jordans and don't have money for anything else, or we'd rather have the latest clothes than pay bills, or our money doesn't stay in the black community. And while some of those claims might hold some semblance of truth, there's very different and dark reasons for why it may seem as if we're always trying to keep up with the Joneses. As black people, we're known for having a very unique way of expressing ourselves. From the cars we drive, the way we talk, the way we walk, the way we dance, the style that we have, because we like to put that shit on. And because these images are amplified throughout music.
I ain't gonna lie. I can't even say nothing too crazy. Actually, I can. Because I got some Savage X Fenty sweats and some Savage X Fenty t-shirts and some drawers. And they fresh. They good quality to me. I'm a quality type of guy. The amount plays a factor, but it's like, you try to meet in the middle. You know what I'm saying? You try to find something that's close enough to where it's within your budget, but also is decent quality to where I'm not going to have to buy another pair of this shit in like 6 months because this just is all down and dirty and grungy. You feel me? So it's like, you got to pick and choose on what you spend your money on. But at the end of the day, free will.
Music, sports, and social media, this has created a weird perception of how the vast majority of us actually spend our money, outside of all the influencers, artists, athletes, or whatever. And this brings us to the black dollar, which is the buying power that we have in the United States, which amounts to $1.7 trillion in annual spending. And it represents the collective purchasing influence of black consumers, often used to promote black-owned businesses, foster community circulation, and influence corporate social responsibility. In the past, between the 1940s and 50s, the black dollar was referred to as the double duty dollar, and it was popularized by figures like Leon Sullivan and Marcus Garvey. And they saw it as a way to empower the community, promote black ownership, and challenge businesses that didn't hire black people. A little bit different than how we view our money today, being that civil rights was at the forefront of that time period. But just to provide some actual factual research up front, findings from the most recent US Bureau of Labor Statistics.
I keep pausing, but this is going to play. I was just having a conversation with someone today. And then they said something along the lines of how like it's harder to mobilize in this day and age, trying to be like a black activist and, trying to push that hard line and really stand for some shit, and then my point of view, and y'all can tell me in the comments if I'm tripping or, let me know something. I was pretty much like, I feel like during those 1960s and times like that, because we were pretty much fighting to get inside the party, right? We was pretty much fighting to be able to integrate inside the system and reap the benefits of a system that was exploiting us. The fight was different than the fight now. We're so ingrained into capitalism now. It's like You gonna tell this nigga to walk away from his $150,000 job for some niggas he don't know? Cause that's what he thinking. He like, shit, I'm pro-black, but a nigga gotta eat. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the type of mindset a lot of people have. And it's like, who am I to say you tripping? Right? Who am I to say walk away from your whole family, risk your life, risk your job, risk your employment to further, black community and put yourself to the side to further the group? Who am I to ask of that of you? You know what I'm saying? Honestly, at this point, I'm just asking for niggas not to be raccoons. That's free. You feel me? So as long as you're not a raccoon, you already on a good standing with me. Everything else is extra. Because if you're not a raccoon, then you stand on business. Someone say something slick, hey yo, chill out. But I bring all back to say that as a collective, it's harder now it's harder to get some shit going now because the system has done what it's supposed to do in the sense of making us reliant on it. And once you're relying on something, man, you gotta wean yourself off. But it's hard to do that when you're always reaping the benefits of being a part of the system. Even if you don't get as much benefits as everybody else, you know that if you're not a part of the system, your life could be worse. That's all I'm saying.
Report done for Black households in 2010 to 2012 shows that the majority of our spending went toward housing at around 37.4%, with transportation and food at 16% each. And that brings us to around a 69% total. More recent 2024 national spending data shows those same categories still dominate household budgets overall, Black and white. However, Black households face higher housing burdens. So most of the money in the Black community is spent on necessities, not reckless spending on chains, Jordans, clothes, and BBLs, but survival-based budgeting under constraint. And that's where that narrative starts to fall apart. When we start to look outside of the necessities, that's when it gets a little bit more complicated, because now the conversation shifts to identity, cultural alignment, representation, and trust, which are major themes under the umbrella of brand loyalty, which is super important for where we spend our money and closely ties back to the concept of the double duty dollar in its purest form. And one of the clearest examples of identity-based spending is the beauty industry, because for decades, we often had to search harder for products that actually worked for us, whether it be hair products, moisturizers, skincare, makeup, head wraps, you name it. I can't tell you how many times my mom used to cover me in Vaseline or cocoa butter before I went to school because she said that it was good for our skin, or it was good for if you get into a fight, or how my dad would keep Murray's on the bathroom counter to keep his waves fresh. These products became staples in the Black community.
I mean, bro, it's not lying. Where my damn beeswax at? I mean, shit, I got Vaseline right here. You feel me? I keep it on me, and I keep my beeswax for my dreads. So it's like, he ain't lying there. I feel like there's hair and beauty product staples that 90% of Black people should have in their own. I say 100%, but it all depends on the type of hair you have and stuff like that. But it's like, you gotta have some type of Vaseline, you gotta have some type of shea butter, some type of coconut oil. Something along those lines. You feel me? So it's like, you gotta make sure you up to par, at least look a certain. As long as you ain't ashy, you good, bro. The worst thing you could do as a Black person is be ashy, gang. I'm not gonna lie. Okay?
Because they were accessible, effective, and trusted throughout generations. And that matters way more than basic marketing with commercials and pop-up ads and shit. It's baked into the Black identity, at least for African Americans. There was a need of representation filled when retail options were slim. So we're willing to put the money we do have left over toward these kinds of things. For example, according to private market research done by McKinsey & Company, 75% of Black consumers said they're more likely to buy from ads showing racial diversity. But when identity-based consumption is paired with psychological connection and trust, it's not just about selling a product anymore. So what happens when that trust gets exploited? Well, we have things like the Gucci incident, where they released a Sambo-inspired turtleneck back in 2019.
When the hell did
It's like the Gucci incident, where they released a Sambo-inspired turtleneck back in 2019.
$29, nigga, what? Why would Gucci do something like that? What the fuck? Oh, I remember this.
H&M, they released a sweatshirt with the phrase "the coolest monkey in the jungle" on it.
I remember this too. The coolest monkey in the jungle. Whoever proposed this idea in the boardroom should be took out back and handled, my nigga. Do you even want your... Who the fuck allowed them to eat? No one was like, yo, we probably shouldn't throw a black kid in a hoodie that says monkey. No one thought about that. Like, no one... Like, what the fuck? These people be so tone deaf. Like, they just... That lets you know they don't even think about you. Yeah, you, black person right there, they don't even think about you, bro. Like, they... God.
And they used a black child as the model. Burberry put out new strip. Prada released a black monkey keychain that had big ass red lips. Moncler dropped their shitty Sambo line, and even Katy Perry's dense ass released a shoe that resembled a Sambo as well. I'm bringing these incidents up because some of these brands were seen as status symbols in the black community. Rappers, athletes, and other famous people held these brands in high regard and indirectly or even directly influenced a lot of people in our community to purchase things from these brands.
Right.
And that's just the clothing market, right? We have Aunt Jemima being forced to rebrand because of how offensive that shit was. Pepsi with the Kylie Jenner shit. Papa John's. We could be here all day talking about this, all right? I'm pretty sure you get the point. These companies wanted black cultural influence and spending power, but lacked the cultural awareness to avoid disrespecting the consumers, helping make them relevant. And some of us still running by they shit. Probably me included. Because not only are these companies selling a product, they're selling status. Which brings us to overconsumption, something that was always pretty bad, to be honest. You can look at early Black Friday clips from the 2000s and see people getting trampled in the wee hours of the morning for material that we don't get.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I never got the appeal. I think I did that shit. I think I stood outside the store early in the morning like one time. And that was probably like 2 hours before the store opened. I never did that shit again. What do I look like rushing to spend my money? Like, what the fuck? Like, okay, yeah, this game is dropping, but I'm gonna get that shit when it go on discount, bro. I'm gonna get that shit when it go on a deal. But I mean, at the end of the day, it really comes down to your interests, right? If you're a high fashion dude, if you really love Jordans, you really love shoes, I expect you to be at that drop. I expect you to be camping out front when those shoes drop. You know? Just like someone that's really big in the video games, I expect you to be in front of GameStop when that new video game drop. You know what I'm saying? If you as locked into that hobby as someone else, you know? So is it really an overconsumption thing always, or is it more so like you kind of just putting money into like your hobby or something like that, right? If shoes is your hobby, then do your thing, right? But I guess if it comes at the expense of saving for the future and at least putting money to the side, you know, for expenses and stuff like that, then it could become an issue, right? Because you want to handle your business first. And if this stuff is truly a hobby, then you're going to do what you got to do later. So,
a fuck about today. This has been made worse by social media, influencer culture, and again, status signaling. This isn't anything unique to the black community, but it's something that we do participate in. And this is where people love to hyper focus on niggas waiting in line for Jordans, when you also have soccer moms bum rushing Starbucks for that stupid ass Bear Cup, or stampeding Target for a damn Stanley Cup to post on an Instagram story that'll be gone in 24 hours. Just ignoring all the structural issues like they don't exist. The contrast here is that black consumption tends to be way more visible and more criticized and often disconnected from the larger conversation around black ownership from a historical standpoint. So the issue isn't who the consumers are, it's who gets judged more for doing it. But we're still left with a question. Why does status matter so much in the first place? And the answer doesn't start with spending. It starts with history. As we peel back...
Before he get into it, I want to say why I think status matters in the black community, or why it's held to a high standard in the black community. And I think it's because at some point, all you had was your name, your face card, and people pretty much judge you based right off how you look. You black, you automatically an idiot. That's what they was thinking. You're black, he's automatically an animal. So it's like you're buying these designer clothes, you're buying these type of cars and vehicles to change how people perceive you, right? And I guess people do that every day, right? If you want people to perceive you as an intelligent guy, you're gonna read more on certain topics, you're gonna educate yourself on certain topics so that you appear more educated or that you know more stuff in this field of study, right? So I guess it comes down to other things too. If you want people to view you as someone that has money or view you as someone that's doing good in life, you're going to present yourself in that way. How do you do that? How would people mostly recognize that? You're going to go for the name brands, the Gucci, the Pradas. Shit. Nike? Nah, not Nike. Nike, nah, not really Nike. Even though they're expensive, but if I see someone with Nike on, I ain't thinking they balling. You feel me? Louis Vuitton, all that other shit, right? They hold a status because everybody understand, yo, this is an expensive company. You gotta have a bag to get this, right? So you want people to view you a certain way, thus you put money into that. And there's other ways you could do it, but that's the easiest way for people, especially strangers, to know that you got money or for them to think that you have money.
More layers, we can start to understand why some of us in the black community put so much emphasis on status symbols or flashy displays of wealth. And in my opinion, it starts with the destruction of black wealth, most notably the Tulsa Race Massacre, the destruction of Black Wall Street. Depending on where you live in the United States, you may have learned about this, but if not, Black Wall Street was the name of Tulsa, Oklahoma's Greenwood district. It was one of the most prosperous African-American cities in the United States. It had 11,000 African-American residents, over 100 black-owned businesses, including banks, hotels, luxury shops, whatever, and black people actually owned their homes until 1921. And in 1921, a black man was accused of assaulting a white woman. Obviously, it was bullshit. So instead of white people in that area waiting for due process, they burned 35 city blocks, killed 300 people, and injured a total of 800 people. The police were involved as well, of course, and they disregarded due process, arresting black people in the street and sending them to detention camps. Sounds very familiar, doesn't it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just...
And you know what's crazy too? You could find is it the FBI? I think it's the FBI report. I forgot. But you could find the report that they did on this, right? In which they go over what led up to it. It goes over like the the prices and stuff like that, and like people that's alive that was alive during that time. Sorry, that's alive during that time. So it's like you could go, because I looked it up like a few months ago. I read it. I was gonna do a whole little video on it and stuff like that, but I'd be forgetting shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the information is still out there. So when these people act like it was like so long ago or it doesn't have present ramifications, it's like, come on, bro. Because you're ignoring history. You're ignoring, if shit like that's allowed to happen, come on, bro. How is anybody supposed to get ahead? How is anybody supposed to pull themselves up by their bootstraps? You got the law enforcement enabling and helping you tear down a black community. What's not happening in 2026? No, they're doing it through voting now, nigga. They taking your rights away now. Fuck you talking about? No, you can't just go burn some shit down. I mean, they still are. You feel me? They still gonna find a way. But it's like they're doing it differently now. You know what I'm saying? Back then, they could just burn your shit down, but now they gotta do it through legislation and, at least through Donald Trump. You feel me? So it's like, man, come on.
Me. But to sum it up, afterwards, the government and private industry worked together to bring down land prices and maintain white dominance in Tulsa. So to be precise...
Oh yeah, and I read something in the report that they didn't even get no type of insurance money for their houses either. Imagine you paying insurance for your house, your shit get burnt down. Niggas don't give you no type of payout or nothing for it. I think they didn't get a payout because it was described as like a riot. Then they changed the language to like a massacre years later. But I think that's why there's like some type of shit in like the paperwork or something like that. Double check that and correct me if I'm wrong. But that's what I last remember from it. That shit crazy though. Oh my God, they did my people so wrong Oh my gosh, bro.
2 days after the riot, the mayor established the Reconstruction Committee to redesign the Greenwood district for industrial purposes, and Black people were offered below market value for their homes, which were major wealth building assets. And Tulsa was not a standalone event. Similar scenarios happened all across the Bible Belt, of course. It's always the fucking Bible Belt. It was a pattern. But let's put a list together. The Rosewood Massacre in Florida, the Williamton Insurrection in North Carolina, the Elaine Massacre in Arkansas, the Ocoee Massacre in Florida, the Atlanta race riots, the Colfax Massacre in Louisiana, and the Red Summer, which took place across several different cities. And most of these take place around the same time period. Very fishy. And we can just travel through time and see the other things that disrupted Black wealth building across multiple generations, excluding slavery, because we all know how them people like to talk about how slavery just doesn't have lasting effects upon generations and generations. So bet. We have lynchings that targeted successful Black land and business owners, redlining, which labeled Black neighborhoods dangerous, which made mortgages impossible to get, the GI Bill discrimination. We were blocked from getting those as veterans who fought and died for this fucking country, employment discrimination, gentrification, mass incarceration. I feel like I'm spitting bars at y'all niggas, all right? Predatory lending, which was one of the factors, major factors, in fact, contributing to the 2008 financial crisis and underfunded schools. Just to keep it light, nothing too crazy. You know, just disruption at every stage of wealth building. Nothing serious. Don't want to piss off the...
Oh my gosh, right? Like, seriously though, every single stage, these people try to disrupt your emotion, man. Like, oh my gosh. People understand the importance of a good home, the importance of a solid foundation when it comes to building a life, right? But they can't understand how the government is actively fucking up Black people's, actively taking apart and fucking up Black people's foundation for their family, for a whole community, for a whole race of people. Like, what? But you can understand that you have to have, you know, a good job and that you should have a healthy home and stuff like that when it comes to raising your little kid. But you can't understand how the government is actively getting in the way of low-income, majority Black neighborhoods getting that leg up or helping them achieve that. You feel me? Oh my gosh, bro. America.
DEI naysayers, even though white women benefit the most, including all the weirdos that love to say, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. So what we can take from this is that consumption was allowed, but ownership was very limited, which in my almost humble opinion is part of the reason why when we do achieve wealth or even just financial stability, we want to show the world and also prove to ourselves that we've made it. We don't just buy a car, we buy some nice shit. We don't just buy clothes, we buy some luxury shit. We don't just buy a house, we buy our mama a house too, and so on and so on. I think the perfect lyric to capture the picture I'm trying to paint for you is when Jay-Z said, if you grew up with hoes and you zap with toes, you celebrate the minute you was having dough. To me, that sums up exactly what I'm trying to say and how a lot of us in the Black community feel. And this is something companies know and take advantage of, and also where the story starts to take a turn, because these companies didn't just sit back and watch what was happening. They studied it and studied it so much they even made a short film for how to sell to us called The Secret of Selling the Negro.
To be able to tell you the secret of selling the Negro, we did a lot of digging. We talked to leading businessmen, the customers, and the salesmen. We went to Washington, D.C. We set up cameras and other key points around the nation. And out of this all, there emerged a story, the story of a new market.
The secret that the film is...
They're always watching. Don't forget that. Always.
Referring to is recognition, and it argues that since African American consumers have faced exclusion and poor service, that we would show intense brand loyalty to businesses that treated us with respect and dignity. It also aimed to debunk the myth that African American consumers only bought cheap goods, when in reality we prefer high quality name brand products as symbols of prestige, which aligns with a lot of what we're seeing today. So while wealth was being disrupted across generations, corporate America was learning how to profit from Black consumers. Ownership was restricted, but consumption was encouraged. I don't
Yeah.
think it'd be a stretch to say that this film helped set the foundation for how we've been marketed to since the 50s. The playbook is the same. Companies just have way more ways to call audibles now. It's not just
Yeah.
Ebony and Jet magazines at barbershops anymore. There's more pathways to intrigue us and convince us to purchase products, especially now that celebrity worship is at all-time highs. There's way more insecurity.
Shit, don't forget targeting ads and stuff like that. Like, all that stuff factors in. You know what I'm saying? If you make it known that your phone, that you're a black person that owns this phone, they're gonna lead you towards some shit towards some black people. You know what I'm saying? Just like it's just like your algorithm. You watch 4 to 5 black content creators, your shit gonna be full of all black people, and that's cool. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying it's the exact same shit when it comes to ads and promoting and advertising products to people. You know what I'm saying? They go off of the stuff that you look at. Shit, they probably even hear your audio when you talk on the phone or something. Shit, they probably hear me right now talking. You feel me? So it's like, they always watching.
To poke at to make a dollar. And what exacerbates things is the fact that we as black people decide a lot, if not all, of what's popular around the world. From clothing, music, dance, sports, slang, body type. Just look around you. There's not much that hasn't had our cultural influence across the entire world from a mainstream marketability standpoint. And as it stands now, we drive a lot of industries we don't control. And until ownership catches up with influence, that gap isn't going to close. So when you put all this together, overall, I think overconsumption is a symptom and not the root cause of economic inequality. I mean, no shit. It's a no-brainer that people have to be responsible for their own financial decisions, but it'd be pretty ignorant to just ignore all the history that got us here in the first place. Multiple things can be true at the same time. I know the internet would love to have you believe that shit is just black and white, but real life doesn't work that way. And that's the reality people don't like to talk about. Because when you paint the full picture, it was never just about spending. It was about who was allowed to build wealth. Thanks for watching.
Of course. Shout out to Ty for the video. You did your thing. Yeah, man. Honestly, I see what he's saying, bro. Because I remember when I got my first job, I went and blew up my first check. I went to Nike. I got me hella Air Maxes. And I got like two pair of shoes. But that felt like a lot to me. I ain't never purchased two to three pair of shoes at one time before. You feel me? So I felt like I was balling. And then I realized I don't even like shoes that much. And then I went down a different path. But I feel like, there's a phase. It could become a phase, or it could be a part of who you are. You could have a phase of you overspending, and then you realize, you know what? This brings me no type of extra joy. It looks nice, but it does nothing for me. And then you go and decide to do other things with your extra income. Or you just realize, yo, I love spending money. I love buying shit. I love, this is what makes me happy. Okay, do your thing, but you also know you got to fund that lifestyle. Honestly, I think one of the most important things that we should be teaching black people is investing. But obviously, you have to have spare income to invest. But it's always good to, be able to form a budget, understand, what to invest in, what to look out for, and, delayed gratification. But it's like, it's hard though. It's hard because it's like you don't want to tell someone, like, you buying Starbucks 3 times a week isn't keeping you poor. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not going to change your life. You feel me? Like, the best thing you can do is just keep on learning, bro. Keep on learning and keep educating yourself. That's where the real money is made. People pay for information. People pay for skills. If you don't have no skills, you're not getting paid. I'm gone. Peace.